Brewing Company. You're here for Ryan's Beer Reviews. Let's see what's on tap today.
Hey Beer Tubers, it's Ryan back with another episode of San Diego Beer Vlog, and I am excited because finally, Stone's Imperial Russian Stout has finally arrived. Much later release this year. It's end of May instead of usually early to mid-April, and as you can see they have a new label on there. Do like the new label, although I do miss the hat on the gargoyle, but looking forward to reviewing this one. They've done two versions. This is the 2011 just standard release, and of course there's the Odd Years for Odd Years beer being 2011. They have the Belgo Anise version, which I'll be getting to in my next review. So let's get this thing cracked. I've had it sitting out for close to an hour now, because this is a beer you do not want to drink too cold. And I'm probably still gonna come back to it, let it warm up even more in my glass. This is a monster 10.5% ABV Imperial Stout from Stone. And thanks to Chris for the new glass he got me. Appreciate it, man. I guess it's like the official BGN glass, tulip glass. But this beer is pitch black as you expect. Got a nice 3-finger head on there. It's pretty much brown, kind of a sort of on the lighter side brown. Nice mocha head. Good amount of small bubbles on there as well. Let's get the nose on it. First thing you get is a little bit of hops. This is a very hoppy beer. I don't know if they mentioned how many IBUs it is, but I do know they use Magnum for bittering. At least they did for last year's version. I haven't looked up the specs on the website to see if they've updated them, but Magnum bittering hops, real clean bittering hop, maybe a slight bit of like earthy kind of grassiness, but this thing's got to be over 100 IBUs, I'd imagine, at 10.5%. Below that, you get some nice kind of slightly dark chocolate notes, and then you get a ton of roasted coffee notes. Just a bunch of that, and then even behind that, you're getting some dark fruit esters. Definitely some fruit esters I was getting at the brewery. So yeah, I mean, this is classic Stone IRS right there. Aroma's not too different than from what I can remember of last year's having it fresh. Obviously the 2010 and the previous vintages are going to smell different, but I'm ready to dig in. Cheers. Oh yeah, that is fantastic beer. What I forgot to also mention is at least some awesome legs on the side of the glass, but wow, this beer is fantastic. I mean, the alcohol, I wasn't getting any of the nose. You get a slight bit at the very end, but it's not very fusely. Sometimes Imperial Stouts can have a lot of fusel alcohol notes, because it's kind of a trade-off with the yeast. If you ferment too low, you're not going to get all those nice fruity esters that are in there, but if you ferment too high, well, you might get some of those fruity esters, but you might get too many fusel notes, so it's a real delicate balance with this beer. And then yellow, I mean, it's an Imperial Russian Stout. You want some alcohol in the end. It's supposed to be warming kind of beer, and that's what this beer does. It just doesn't overwhelm your palate with the fusel notes. Up front, you get a little bit of chocolate. Midway through, I get, well, actually, first I should say, up front you get a tinge of bitterness on your tongue from those hops. It is an IRS, it's a heavily hopped stout, so big time hop notes are in there to give it a slight bit of bitterness up front. Then some chocolate notes kind of come in. Midway, some of the dark kind of fruit notes come out. And on the end, it finishes with that roasted coffee note. And then a touch of chocolate kind of to round it out. And then it finishes fairly moderate. It's on the dry side, but I do get a little bit of lingering chocolate and coffee notes on it. Okay, so the head's died down, but there's still a decent amount on there, especially for this high ABV beer. More I drink on it, more caramel notes start to come through in there. There's definitely some caramel notes. There's also a touch of smoke that I get right at the back end. I don't know if they're using any smoked malts or if that's maybe coming from some dark roasted malt characteristics, but a little bit of smokiness in there. Dark fruit wise, it's kind of it's kind of generic in the sense that I don't get like specific, like it doesn't taste like raisiny or it doesn't taste prune like, just like a darker kind of fruit, verge of being cherry notes, but it doesn't quite go cherry like some other beers I've had where it's like definite kind of notes. So it's almost maybe like a touch of like a dark berry, like a blackberry kind of fruitiness in there, but it's real nice. A lot of different flavors going, a lot of complexity for this beer. Mouthfeel on this beer, coats your mouth pretty good, definitely a full-bodied beer, but it's still very drinkable. It has a smooth, almost creaminess to it. Just a ton of great things about this beer. It's a world-class Imperial Stout. I'm right on the verge between an A and A+. I'll probably put up a final grading on it, but I mean, for something that's this widely available these days as a seasonal, I mean, this is fantastic. A non-barrel-aged stout. It's such a fantastic beer. It doesn't get the credit it probably deserves because of all these other smaller, rarer beers that get barrel-aged and stuff, and this kind of gets maybe a little lost in the mix these days, but no doubt this is it's a world-class Imperial Stout, one of my favorite beers of all time. So yeah, I can't give enough credit to Stone. This is one of the beers that really kind of got me into the brewery before I was into hoppy beers, and I tried this and it just blew me away, and it still just wows me to this day. So 2011 Stone Imperial Russian Stout. Get a bottle. You should be able to get this just about anywhere in the country now, which is fantastic. So cheers to Stone, and thanks for watching, and please comment and subscribe, and until next time, cheers.